The Single Mom Life, powered by the Single Mom Network. I am one of your hosts, Stephanie Tiller.
I'm Jill Douglas.
And I'm TJ Alvarado.
Our goal here is to connect mothers from all across the world globally to be able to come together and utilize and overcome certain situations and challenges that we face.
So today, in a two-part series that's focused on domestic violence and the issues that brings, we are going to talk about a subject that can and does affect your household or the household of someone you know. Today we're talking about the reality of child sexual abuse. From the website Darkness to Light, here are a few child abuse statistics, child sexual abuse statistics to be exact. 1 out of 10 children will be sexually abused before their 18th birthday. 81% of child sex abuse incidents for all ages occur in one perpetrator, one child circumstances. Most sexual abuse of children occurs in a residence, typically that of the victim or perpetrator. 84% of children between the ages of 12 to 17. There is also a peak in assaults in the late evening hours, and the list goes on. Today, we are going to talk with our special guest, Executive Director of Mosaic Georgia. Mosaic Georgia is the Sexual Assault Center and Child Advocacy Center for enhancing safety, health, and justice for all victims of sexualized violence. We're going to come back with Ms. Marina Peed from Mosaic Georgia. Please lean in close, share this, and listen up, because you can save the life of either your child or someone you know. We'll be right back.
So, welcome, Marina, to our show. Thank you so much for being here. So, I wanted to start off the conversation really with, why is this such an important topic for a single mom to know about? And why could this be maybe even we're more susceptible to it and our children are more susceptible to it? If that's true.
Yes, it's a complicated matter. As moms, we want to take care of everything and try to be all things to our kids and our family and community. And yet there are opportunities, because we can't do it all. And people that like to prey on children will approach and come in sometimes as somebody that's supposed to be helpful. So it's difficult. I wish we had perpetrator was like a stamp and you could see it coming, but you can't. It's somebody that you trust, that you care about. It could be somebody that you love, and you can't imagine that an adult could touch a child that way or try to get them to keep secrets and do that kind of work. So there are some things you can do to kind of immunize your children a little bit. We can talk about that a little bit, but there's no guarantee, and it's not just something that single moms have to face.
Right.
So I don't like folks thinking that if you're a single mom, this has to happen. That's not the case.
Yeah.
I mean, moms are working hard all the time.
Yeah, absolutely. So that brings in, and maybe this will go into, how can you help your child so make sure it doesn't happen, okay?
How can you protect your child?
What kinds of things, because you mentioned oftentimes, and you mentioned even oftentimes it's somebody we know, but are there situations or people or occurrences that we should be watching for as a single parent or as anybody out there as a parent, people we should watch out for, situations we should watch out for especially? That's my first question.
So I think because we all need the village to help us. And so you have to be careful when people offer to help you with your kids. Oh, they can stay at my house, or I'll feed them, or especially maybe if you're dating somebody and they seem like they're really good with your kids. Unfortunately, there's nice guys, but you kind of have to watch out about that. Same thing when you take your kids to youth group things, even church communities. You want to find out what kind of screening do you have for the adults, and what's the process if something happens with the child, and do we get notified? Really be asking those kinds of questions.
Yeah.
I just kind of want to interject a little bit. Like, what are we watching out for if my significant other, or like you said, my boyfriend, and you know, he's really good with the kids, and I just want to run to the store and just grab some more things for dinner really quick, and I'm gonna be really quick.
Yeah.
Like, that sounds like a good idea. Except I haven't saw the signs of what. Like, what should I have been looking for?
So, and that's the thing, there's more good guys out there than bad guys. I want to say that, but at the same time, we have to look at everybody as as a suspect, yeah. And so really it goes back to having conversations with our kids. So, and really simple things, like we call our body parts. A penis is a penis, a vulva or a vagina, breasts, like there's all these different cutesy nicknames that kids use these days. I know at Mosaic Georgia, we work several hundred children every year, and so we learn all kinds of new names for our parts.
Right.
And but giving kids the tools to know what their body parts are and what's private, and that nobody has the right to touch you, and that they can tell mom anything. And you know, if somebody wants to keep a secret, that's a sign that that's something you need to tell mommy. And even if they say that they could hurt me, or they might threaten you, or say that nobody would believe you, or that it's your fault, I will always believe you. So you tell mommy if somebody says something, because the kids also want to protect their parents.
So Marina, what age is a good age to do that at? And is it enough that if you say it, I don't know, in middle school, is that too soon? Is that early enough? Do you say it again, or once you say it once, it's enough?
You start at 3 years old, 2 years old. When you're taking a bath, when they're learning what their parts are, you call them what they are. You know, if you go to the doctor and you have an ear infection, you don't feel funny calling it an ear, right?
Thing on my head.
Yeah, you know, right. So part of it is just for us to get comfortable with our bodies, and children aren't aware of the sexual nature of bodies, and especially, like you say, before puberty, so they don't even know necessarily. So it's just having that, you know, your body is yours, and nobody, you know, and that's another one too. So if a kid doesn't want to go hug Uncle Freddie,
don't make him hug Uncle
don't make him hug Uncle Freddie. You know what? It's and children too. I mean, I've learned a lot too. Like, you know, I'll ask, may I have a hug? If they say no, no problem. You know. So it's just being able to respect the boundaries and not,
Yeah, because I was going to say, just what kind of signs would you look for in a child if, you know, would maybe give you like a yellow alert, red alert, like something maybe is going on with my kid that maybe isn't normal? I mean, are there signs that you can see? Yeah.
Maybe you notice a change in their behavior, right?
Yeah, it varies by child, just like personalities are different. So sometimes they will get very private, and they might not, so you might see changes in their behavior and not wanting to go out and play or go to somebody's house. Or it might be somebody that when they see them, they go and they jump on their lap because they're going to get a treat. Maybe that person is grooming them. And so they actually have an affection for somebody. And that also makes it difficult because it's somebody that you love, and yet they're doing something. So the brain can't handle, you know, you've got your freeze, flight, or fight response, but you also have that bonding attachment piece that's going on in the brain. And so that's a lot for anybody to process.
Yeah, that's a lot. That's really heavy.
Terrible.
Right.
It's crazy.
And then
Getting over on a kid.
yeah, and I have to mention this too, because I know we're talking from a standpoint of like maybe that aggressor is a male and the child can be male or female, but there are adult females that also commit this type of crime. And so if, like you were saying, if you know you don't want to go to Uncle Freddie, well, if they don't want to go to Aunt Susie, don't make them go to Aunt Susie either. Absolutely. You know, maybe don't go to the neighbor just because you've known your neighbor for 10 years, but your child feels kind of funny about them. them.
Yeah.
Right? Don't make them do that.
Yeah, trust your gut. You know, we tell our kids, we need to remind our kids, and we need to remind ourselves as
Yeah.
well. And
Yeah.
we don't owe anybody an explanation.
Yes.
No
Right.
means no.
Yeah, period.
They don't want to
So
come,
great.
I don't want to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say you do have a super strong suspicion, or maybe your child has even told you something. What's the next step? Who do we call? What do we do? What do we Google? What do we do now when we think something's happened?
Well, first, take a deep breath because that's a lot to know and to process. Yeah, I mean, that's a lot. And oftentimes the stakes are high because it is somebody who has access to our child, which means they might live with us, they might live near us, they might be known in the community, family member, you know, it could be a lot of different things. So you can always call law enforcement, call 911 in the United States, and say that you suspect this is happening. You could call a children's advocacy center like Mosaic Georgia, and we will help to make a report. Or a school counselor, if they got a suspicion, they're mandatory reporters as well. And so then there's a whole process in place to do an investigation. Don't ask your kid a lot of questions. If they've made an outcry, listen, love them, and then call the police. What happens in our community is that law enforcement lets us know, and the child and the parent is brought to our center. And we have forensic interviewers that ask, and they're non-leading questions, just want to kind of get the information. And if we need to do a forensic medical exam, which is like a head to toe check, we can do that right there in the center. That's what a lot of children's advocacy centers are set up to do.
That's awesome.
So it's child-centered, victim-centered, and to help put you at ease, and then we've got advocates that help you figure out what the next steps are too.
That's awesome. I'm so glad to know about that. Not that I ever hope it happens to me or anybody I know, and I love that it's out there.
Great.
Love that.
Okay, so moving forward then, what are some tips, ladies, that you've got? Marina, you gave us some great ones. We'll wrap it back with Marina. Stephanie, what do you think?
Well, first, before I even get into my tip, I have one question, and I'm sure, adults are probably sitting at home trying to figure out, what do you do after that has happened in your family? And no one wants to talk about it, but it's eating everybody away. Jackie's only screaming at Susie because Susie knows, and nobody knows why those two are at each other's neck, except 2 or 3 people. One live in Washington, the other one lives in, Wyoming. So and every time they get together, it's just that secret, or that dark cloud that comes over. Not that it's her fault. No one talks about it, and that is ripping families apart.
It is, and that, I think it's why it takes a lot of courage for survivors, and that's why a lot of people never talk about it, because they would rather carry the burden and let everybody else pretend. But I guarantee you, if someone is being molested in the family, that's not the only one, and it's not the first one. And so if someone has the courage to speak their truth, I think it's incumbent upon other people to accept it or not. And if they don't accept it, then they're not ready, but they're also not going to be helping you. So you're the person that if you've got that courage to do that and heal, that family system that's allowed that to happen, sometimes for generations, unfortunately, it's really hard.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is.
So why do you think it's easier to carry that burden than to tell someone? Why is that the easiest thing to do, is carry the burden and hurt than to tell someone and free yourself?
Because we don't trust.
And maybe we don't think
We
it's gonna
don't
be
feel safe. And if we
yeah.
don't feel safe, it's better for me to deal with it than disclose and then get all kinds of
feel shame that
people,
now everybody knows.
and they're going to ask all questions, and you see that happens in social media with adult sexual assault as well. I mean, then all these questions, people that have no business having opinions, but the pressure just So it's easier just to take it in myself. Hopefully it's starting to change, and I think that moms, one person at a time, friend to friend, sister to sister, we can work to erase that stigma. Help is out there. We have a crisis line 24/7, and we talk with people that are adult survivors as well as people that have just experienced something new, loved ones. You know, I don't, my partner just said this, I don't know how to help her. What can I say? So there are tools out there, and there can be a really good, rich life afterwards too. But it's really hard.
That's what they need to know. Somebody needs to know this.
You can't just keep stuffing it. That's the thing.
So we do like to wrap up with tips, and we've heard some really, really amazing ones. So each of us just share like one really important tip that we want to leave you with, or if you know anybody who is, just share this, because you probably don't know who's been affected by this. So here are some tips to take with you to really bring it on home.
One thing I want everyone to know is that it's not your fault. Moms, we want to protect everyone all the time. Even with our best efforts, sometimes things happen. So don't blame yourself. Don't second guess yourself. And if someone discloses to you something that happened or that might have happened, just listen. Don't judge. Just listen. That's what they need. And remember, it takes a great amount of courage to have that conversation. So that also means they trust you.
I would add to that, be that friend that listens. Be the one that someone can come to and say, these things happened to me, and you encourage them and give them the love, and, you know, just be there for them. A lot of individuals like yourself don't come forward because you're non-trusting. You no longer find relationships worthy anymore because you don't feel worthy, but you are worthy, and there are people that will embrace you like that even if they knew your secret. Tell someone your secret. There are some people that will trust and keep your secret safe, but not just keep your secret safe, make you feel comfortable about being brave enough to admit, you know, what's taking place. And if you're going through it, please get some help.
Excellent. Single moms, I would like you to come in closer as you're watching this and watch it again with your children, because your child is your most precious possession. It is your treasure. Hug your child tight every day. Know that they love you, love you, love you, and that whatever you've been doing up to this point is your absolute best, and we are so proud of you for that. If you have a child that discloses this to you, or you might even be an adult survivor of child sexual abuse, know that it is not your fault. Know that you are surrounded by people that love you, and that if you sit in a quiet place, someone will come to your mind that you can reveal this to. It's not healthy to stuff it, but I believe the time is now. You're watching this now, and the awareness is now. Validate your love for your child. Hug them and keep that contact every night. No matter how late you come in from work, hug them, wake them up, and tell them you love them, because it's in those moments that maybe that sign that something might be amiss, that's when you'll pick it up. And guess what? If you find out that nothing's wrong, then it's wonderful. Nothing is wrong. But you are doing your best, and we thank you, and we are so proud of you for sitting with us through this difficult but necessary subject.
Yeah. And my last tip is super fast, but really I want you to know, like that has been said, but I really want you to hear this, that you deserve to be safe, you deserve to be respected and cared for, and so do your children. And if that's not the case, there's help out there. You're not alone, and you can reach out, even anonymously. So we here at the Single Mom Network and on the Single Mom Life, you can always follow us, send us messages. We're here as a resource for you. Follow us on Instagram and Facebook at the Single Mom Life US, the Single Mom Network, and
we have a YouTube channel.
We do have a YouTube channel.
Catch up with us.
Catch up with us.
Yes. You can binge watch us.
Exactly. So this
Leave us some comments.
Exactly. Exactly. Leave us some comments, leave us some messages. So thank you for joining us. We look forward to seeing you again here on The Single Mom Life, brought to you by the Single Mom Network, where dreams meet opportunities.
We love you.